my name is Marcus. I'm a trainer and a teacher of teachers, especially in regards to spiritual development and personal improvement. Now, this is a really important area of your life. If you can improve yourself and better yourself, really that's your soul's journey, and how you move through life from a place of bettering yourself is going to create lots of amazing opportunities in your life. Now, I want to introduce you to my teacher. So that would be the teacher of teachers. And what's really important here is what she's going to share about how reality works. Now, the reason this is important is many people will start a program of self-improvement to change their lives, and for whatever reason they hit a dead end. They don't really get the breakthroughs they're looking for, and the reason is often very simple. They don't understand the model of reality that they're in right now. Now, if you understand how reality works, you can work out whereabouts you are on that map. If you know where you are and also the people around you, you can not only help them, but you can help yourself as well. If you don't understand how reality works and you don't know where you are on the map, then really it's potluck if you have any success. So I'm going to introduce you to Jane, who's going to walk you through how reality works and how you can put it to use. I really hope you enjoy this video. It changed my life, and I know it's going to change yours too.
What's up? It's Jay from ARIYA here. Today I'm going to teach you how to understand which part of self-development journey you're on, to realize the steps that you have to take to progress faster and to avoid mistakes that otherwise could cripple you. And if you're feeling stuck on your journey, I'm going to show you how to unstuck yourself. Okay, so there are 3 levels, and this will also explain you why so many people, although they want to find their life purpose, they never get there, because there is actually a threshold to overcome. And so the whole progression of self-development happens in 3 steps. Why is it not? Okay, so level 1, level 2, and level 3. And the thing is, to live your purpose, and I'll just say purpose here, purpose. So to live your purpose, you have to get to the step number 3. And very few people get there, because very few people understand what it takes to get there, and even the fact that they should. So the majority of people right now live on the level 1. And the level 1 is where you don't really have awareness of the world and what you're about. And so you just live like a 9-to-5 job. You think about Kardashians, you think about what's new on Netflix, you don't really develop yourself. So if anything, it scares you.
So it's like the human life.
Yeah, I call it, actually, I have a hashtag for it, human life. So that human life thing also requires a very peculiar mindset, because it goes hand in hand with that Maslow's pyramid of needs, where they look after their lowest physical needs to be satisfied. So, for example, food, sex, shelter, and things like that. And that's
great name for a hotel.
Yeah, food, sex, shelter. Yeah. So what happens is they, because they're only interested in that, and I would say that's about 75%. And many people who are in self-development right now, so who meditate, who explore themselves, who read books on self-development, they, not all of them, but most of them will have gone through this stage. And what happens, there is a threshold. And this threshold, you can approach and you can overcome in different ways. It's almost like, imagine if, if you're a strawberry and you're growing covered with a film. And so you can't grow through it, you have to grow underneath, and it's really suffocating. But at one stage, let's say one of those strawberry bushes became self-aware, and they're like, there is more to life than this. Screw that, I'm going higher. And so usually what it takes either some deep realization, and many people said to me, I woke up when I realized that I don't want my entire life to look like this. I don't want to be like this in 10 years' time, 20 years' time. Or something happened that made them think about it, like ayahuasca, for example.
Right, like some profound experience. So just to clarify, human life is the sort of life where you're working a 9 till 5, possibly you're, being affected by the media, like what you see on TV.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're easily influenced, and
you don't really have a direction in life. You just exist.
Just almost like you're treading water.
Pretty much, you just exist, and you follow whatever the society tells you to follow in terms of your path and your values. So, like for example, as a young guy, you will be thinking, right, I have to have more cars, more money, more girls, and then I'll be happy. Kind of thing.
So like that progression, go to school, get an education,
leave, get a mortgage,
get a job, mortgage, get a family, get old, die.
That's right. That's right.
Human life.
Yeah, that's human life. In a nutshell, that's right. And so at some point, if you were born to fulfill a greater mission in life, if you feel that there is more to this life than that, there will come a point where that inner conflict between what you're doing and what you're supposed to be doing becomes so great that it actually translates into quite substantial emotional pain. And so that emotional pain is actually your friend. This is why even depression can be a friend sometimes, because it allows you to wake up. And as you wake up, you break through and you go to this level. And now this is where the interesting thing happens, because this is actually, you will understand in a bit why it's so important. So 75, obviously it's arbitrary, we don't have the exact data. So what happens is most people get through and they get so excited that they've overcome this threshold. And if you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because the difference between the human life and the life of a free entrepreneur, someone who is developing themselves, someone who is meditating,
someone who's woken up a bit.
Yeah. So someone, once you wake up and you realize that there is so much more to this world than just living human life, you get really excited, understandably, get really excited about it. And so what happens is you drift in this space, and you look for different techniques and different platforms and different courses and different teachers, and you keep consuming that content. And if you feel, obviously, as you go, that you understand more and more. However, the problem with this one is that if you stay on this level, if you just keep developing yourself on this level 2, what will happen? Eventually, you will come again up to the same problem you had with human life. You'll start feeling that you're trapped, that you're suffocating, that there must be more than that. But the unfortunate thing is that there is no ready paradigm that we can easily access saying, hey, by the way, if you're stuck on the second level, it's all right. It just means that you have to go higher up.
So I've got 2 questions.
Go on.
The first is, what do we call that level? This level of you've woken up a bit, but you're kind of stuck.
Okay, so it's beginner self-development. Oh, sorry, I just keep moving it. So beginner to intermediate.
Okay.
All right. So, and you've got amazing people on this level. For example, you've got people like Keanu Reeves, like Elon Musk, and some people who have really contributed to the world, some really bright, talented, and awakened people. But the problem is, if with human life, let's say you've achieved everything that there was to achieve, and you've got a lot of money, you've got a car, and you feel still that there is something missing, that you need to achieve more, you have a clear avenue, because people will say, well, you've outgrown your human shell, just go develop yourself, go to Tibet or to India, meditate, and you will get enlightened. So you go there, it alleviates your pain, it makes you feel better about yourself. But in most cases, if you get stuck here, it actually feeds your ego. Because what happens is you suddenly think, oh, I'm so much more powerful and awakened than anyone else. But after that moment of satisfaction, what helps next is the feeling of being trapped. Because at one point you realize that no matter how many courses you take, no matter how many people you speak to in the self-development industry, it's not really leading anywhere, because at one point you will feel like you've hit a plateau.
So I guess in this area of intermediate self-development, we've got everything ranging from self-help junkies to gurus and pretty much everyone in between, right?
Yeah, self-styled gurus, for example, usually operate on this level because it's really satisfying for your ego.
So it's kind of, this is the area, because this is going to be my second question. It's kind of like when you get to this stage, there's a risk of an us versus them. Like, oh, all the humans, they're all fast asleep, but we're woke now. We get it. We're moving. We're living life on our own terms.
Exactly.
Come and listen to these Tibetan singing bowls, and let me just check your chakras. Right. Okay.
Exactly. And this is why I said, unless someone is careful, this is very conducive to actually growing a huge ego that will then obscure your vision and obscure your view and make it impossible for you to break through to the next level. So if you allow, on this stage, if you allow your ego to grow and think, oh, I've developed myself so much, I'm so much better, so much more enlightened than these people on the level 1, that is a huge and horrible trap to fall into. What's that?
So what are some hallmarks of, how do you know if you have let your ego grow? I mean, is it because you walk around with an identity that you're a teacher, or what? What are the things that stick out?
Having an identity in itself is fine. We all need an identity. Otherwise, how do you operate in the world? Because you need to create some sort of a story about yourself. No, you will know that you've grown a huge ego when you start feeling that you are so much better than anyone else, that nobody can teach you anymore anything because you are so enlightened. And the thing is, a person who is truly enlightened never feels that way, because true enlightenment restructures your mind to the point where you don't even operate on such categories. You just don't have them. So you never, you actually develop compassion and love. Again, we don't have words to describe it. It's a very different kind of love that we feel on the level 1 and 2 towards other human beings. And so you work for the benefit of all, like the Buddha did, for example. His act of turning away from his own ascension and enlightenment to stay with people in the world and to teach them was an act of love. And this is why he did it. So this is what great teachers do. But you will never meet a great teacher saying, oh yeah, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, just bow to me, I'm so amazing. So if you feel that way yourself, or if you meet someone who presents themselves that way,
on a pedestal,
who puts themselves on a pedestal, if you meet someone like that, it means that they've allowed their ego to take over. And if that happens, as I said, you will get stuck on this level. And
So if you follow that person's teachings, because maybe that person who's got their ego really big, if they is it possible they might have some really good advice? And if we follow that advice from a teacher who's got that ego, who's in that ego trap, what are the consequences for us?
Okay, it is a good question, actually, because although they say that truth is truth, no matter where it comes from. So, a gem from a dirty sack is still a gem. However, if you're learning from a teacher who is not in a good place themselves, and I've got a video about it on my YouTube channel, how to recognize a true teacher. But if you're learning from a person who is not in a good place himself or herself, that will inevitably rob of you, because we don't really understand it that much in the West, but in the East, it used to be common sense and still is, that when you're learning from someone, there is a transference of not only skills and knowledge and words, but also the inner essence of the teacher. And so they give you the gift of their own self and their own energy to further your advancement. And this is what always happens. So if you accept as a teacher a person who is not worthy to be in that position, what will happen? There is a big chance that they will contaminate your mind with their own shadows and with their own weaknesses.
So what if we just like, we can follow a teacher for a long time, but what if we just, read an article by them, or, just use one tip from them? Is that still a risk, or?
No, that's all right. I'm talking about close personal interaction.
Right, okay.
Okay, so what happens is, if the person is stuck on this level and they're not aware that there is something higher up, they usually get really depressed, because what happens is, once they live their human life and they weren't satisfied with it, so they broke through that threshold and they found themselves in a completely, brand new world, which was amazing, and they enjoyed it for so long. And they thought it was the ultimate. They thought they have made it. And once they feel trapped, they think there is nothing beyond that. And if there is nothing beyond that, then what's the point in living your life? Like, that's it, you're trapped. And obviously, unless they meet someone who has gone through to the third level, and there are very, very few people who do. So what happens is, and sometimes they get so depressed, so frustrated, that they decide to find a way to break free, and they find it. But from what I observe in the majority of cases, what happens is that people get so frustrated and they don't believe there is something else to strive towards. And so they get trapped and they wither and they succumb to their pain, their depression, and they start taking drugs to mitigate that pain and to forget about it. So you can see many people who are really developed, really awakened, suddenly destroying themselves. Yeah, like Elon Musk, for example, like Keanu Reeves, and many others who you would think, oh, surely they should find a way. But if you get stuck on this level, this is what unfortunately can happen. So what it takes, it either takes a huge amount of pain to break through to a purpose, because to break through to this level, remember, to switch from level 1 to level 2, you had to restructure your mind and change your values. You probably remember that, because you won't have the same values on this level as you had on the level 2 when you lived your human life. So what you have to do, you have to go through the same process again, but on a higher level. So to break through to your purpose, your freedom, and to serve the world greatly, you actually have to be willing to take this journey again, to shed your ego, to shed your previous priorities and values, and get a new system of values and a new system of priorities and a new modus operandi, a new way of seeing reality. The problem with that is that it happens usually much later in life. So by this stage, your mind is set and you feel so proud of your achievements that you're not really willing to let them go.
Yeah, because you often meet people, especially in middle age, and their personality becomes fixed and they stay like that for the rest of their lives. So you're saying we have to challenge that and
Absolutely.
make our personality moldable again.
Absolutely. You know how people who work out throughout their life don't get stiff and all crippled, and people who don't, their body stiffen with age. And the same thing happens with your mind. So if you don't train your mind to be flexible, if you don't stretch it, if you don't exercise it, what will happen? It will fossilize. It will solidify with age. And you can see it all around you. This is why if you explain a new concept to a young person, they will just catch it straight away. They may agree or disagree with it, but they will entertain it, they will look into it and explore it. If you present an older person with a concept that is either outside of their paradigm or against their views, they will just refute it. They won't even entertain it as a possibility because their mind is already set, it's already fossilized. And this is why it's so much harder to break from the prison of your mind as you get older, unless you train your mind for strength.
So, I guess we've all met those people who are stuck in their ways.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what can we do, if we're listening to this? I mean, if we're listening to this, that means we're already open-minded, right?
It means that you're probably on the level 2.
Right.
I don't think that on the level 1 you would be watching this video right now.
They've left by now.
Yeah, exactly,
Right, okay.
exactly.
They're onto the...
So, yeah, we're out of muggles and humans.
Okay. So, right, let's say we find ourselves in level 2. We're kind of, the goldfish banging our head against the glass. And you're saying that we can break through it, but we've got to change our mindset. How do we do that?
Well, first of all, we have to realize that we are on the second level, and if you're stuck, you will know that you're stuck because it's painful, because you will realize that, oh, I've taken so many courses, I've done so much, and I'm still not really progressing anywhere. I'm still on the same level. It's like collecting new badges, but they don't mean anything. And so once you realize that you are in that place, the best thing to do is to use the techniques that you learned, and maybe learn some new, to start making your mind flexible again. And your mind will follow your order if your desire and your intent, your resolve is strong enough. So if you say to yourself, I have to develop myself further and I want to align with my purpose, and that's my top priority, your mind will start changing itself to enable that to happen.
So if I feel stuck, and the pain I think you're describing is like that depression pain, where it's not the pain like I'm on fire, it's more the pain of, oh, another day of this.
Yeah, kind of killing you slowly.
Right,
pain.
Like I get it, I understand it, but it still sucks. Like I had that description, like being at a party and you just can't wait for it to end.
Yes,
right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so what you're saying then is the first thing to do is to actually just tell our mind what we want.
Yes. First thing you have to do is to put your awareness into work. So realize that the way you feel is because you're not living fully yourself. And if your ego has grown to some notable extent, that may be not a nice realization to have, but it's a very important one. So realize that you feel depressed and you feel stuck because you're not living to your full potential, and there is more. To achieve that more, you have to start training your mind for strength. So for example, the courses that I've got serve that purpose because I teach people how to find and live their life purpose. But you can use other courses that take you in the same direction.
All right, so what if what's an example of where somebody you've known has done that, who like they were stuck there and they got through? How do you know, what I'm getting at here is that you've reached your purpose? How do you know you've reached that level 3?
Okay, so it's actually quite interesting because in some cases there is a breakthrough, saying like on the level 1 and 2, and you just wake up and you realize that the whole world is different now. But in most cases, it's a gradual process of growth. So it's like, imagine you are a seed in the soil, and you just grow and grow and grow, and the weight of the soil becomes lighter and lighter and lighter every day until you see the light. And the thing is, you start feeling differently, you start seeing things differently, you start interacting with people differently. And as I said, the main thing is your priorities change. So you direct your focus to different things that used to entertain you before. Because before, let's say you wanted to get some points, so to speak, for being so self-developed, whereas now all you're interested in is how to change yourself to manifest your greatest purpose, how to serve the world greatly. What else do you have to do to become that weapon of light, so to speak?
That 1%.
Yes. I would say that's 1% because, see, this is not, it keeps doing this. So I would say it's 1%. It's quite rare. And I would say mainly simply because most people don't realize this. So they don't realize that there is a transition. and a set of steps.
All right, I've got 2 questions then. The first question is, when we're on step 2,
Yes.
it seems like step 2 is a valid step to be at. You know, there's going to be a lot of growth and development there.
Yes.
So where is the critical moment where you're like, right, I'm done growing here and I want to get to step 3?
It's different for everyone. There is no one size fits all. So it depends on your personal level of growth. And some people grow faster, some people grow slower.
Okay, I got that. Okay, my second question is, if we're watching this, how do we avoid the trap of thinking, yeah, well, I'm clearly in the 1% on purpose, when we might actually be in the 24% of ego?
When you achieve your purpose, your pain, even the deeply hidden pain that you might have not realized before, dissolves. It actually goes away. And you feel yourself not so much as a person in terms of an individual, but you feel yourself as a messenger of a force that you represent. So you align yourself with your higher essence, and this is what you have to do. This is what has to happen for you to be able to manifest your purpose. So you become the channel, the weapon of that force. And your perception of reality, as I said, your perception of reality, your values, your modus operandi, they all become completely different.
Okay, so that's awesome. Now, my final question, because I know we've got to wrap things up, is how can I put this to use? How can I apply this to my life right now?
Okay, well, see what level you're on. I assume you're not on level 1. So you're probably on level 2. Check how it feels. Does it actually feel right? Do you feel that you're growing? Because a mark of true teachings or a true knowledge is that it makes you stronger and it transforms you. So see if you are still being transformed by the knowledge that you absorb, by the skills that you're learning. Do you actually feel that you still need some of this training and learning? If you feel that you've consumed pretty much everything that there was and you feel stuck and you feel, all right, I've developed myself so much, almost like, what's going on? I should be really happy by now. Why am I still in pain? Or again in pain? It means that you're ready to go onto that level 3. And as I said, because there is lots of resistance and lots of fear coming from your mind to go through this threshold, most people don't get there because they come to this threshold, they want to get through it, they get scared, step away, and return to this world, the level 2, and get trapped. So it's important to understand that we have to push through our fear. And some people are lucky, as I said, some people have so much pain in them accumulated when they come to this threshold that they don't care about fear because it pains them more to stay where they are, to make that leap of faith and jump. Because unfortunately, you can't really make this with little steps. You have to jump. You have to make this decision. And so, as I said, if your pain is greater than the fear, you will do it. But you also need to know the steps. You need to know how to use your mind, and you need to have a belief in a higher power. Because without that belief, you will never align with it. And if you don't align with a higher power, you can't align with your purpose. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I always read and reply personally. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and visit my website for your free guide, How to Find Your Life Purpose. See you next time.